if you've ever been in that space where you feel your principles is colliding with the relationship that you have with the people of this. How then do you navigate that?
I think boundaries, very critical. Establish boundaries and set firm boundaries. Then maybe the other thing that comes to mind is pick your battles wisely. Pick your battles wisely. Like you don't have to fight everyone and you don't have to fight for everything because, I am an integral person. This company, you guys are corrupt. My brother, you will be jobless tomorrow. So pick your battles wisely. Then the other thing is, in the workspace, we talk of networking, not ideally friendships. So be intentional with how you network with the people at work.
Hi, should I stand my principles even if my relationships are compromised? No, haikuanza hivyo. Aya, countdown ya mwisho.
3, 2, 1, let go.
Hi, should I stand my principle or go by my principles at the cost of my relationships? Or should I prioritize my relationships even when I'm forced to compromise? Welcome. This is the Relationship Garage right here at CITAM Church Online. And today we are having an amazing conversation. And this conversation is titled Principled, Not Political. Trying to find a balance between principles and relationship in the place of work. And to help me unpack, help me and engage this conversation is yours truly that has always been with us right here on set, Mr. Neb himself. Salamia watu wako.
Have you ever? Greetings, good people. Pasa nakwambia umeweka hiyo principles na utaki mchezo. Anyway,
Today we are principle.
Good to be here. Good to be here.
Principle. I mean, it's more or less like we're talking about values.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is just not about work itself.
Yep.
It is, it's about the people. Because many times when you're in the workspace, you have these principles and all that, And so we are so focused on your values, you're focused on what you want to do. My values, just my values cannot allow me. And you realize sometimes it's the people, it's the politics that are in the workspace and all that. So, what really then does it mean to be principled? Maybe we start from that place because some people will keep saying, hey, my principle will not allow me to do A, B, C, D. So what do you understand so do you have principles?
Well, first and foremost is to understand principles. These are, let's say, your ethical, like
values.
your core ethical values
That
guide you as an individual. Do I have? Sure. I usually actually have 5 core values that,
So what are your core values?
For me,
so you have 5 core values. So
but zangu si serious sana ka. Unajua kuna zingine unasikianga zao bana. Anyway, I have integrity, I have authenticity, I have humor, I have community is actually a core value. People didn't know, many people don't know that. Yes, the nimesema okay. Authenticity, integrity, community, empathy is the last one. Yes. Five core values.
I've come sometime to see when you seem to have values or some principles in life, many times people end up interpreting you as rude, or sometimes they interpret you as pride. They see it as more of a pride, especially when you keep referring people to what values are. My value, I will not do this because my values say this. I'll not do this because my principle do not allow. People end up really transfer, and so many a times people really don't want to even talk about their principles
because they don't have. You see, the place of convergence, even right now for us as friends or people who are doing this podcast, our point of convergence is what do we believe in and what do we stand for. We cannot sit here, talk about thriving and healthy relationships if we don't believe in relationships. So our point of convergence in the workspace or in other spaces, spheres of influence, is those values and principles that guide us.
Yes.
Right now, there's someone you can't even have a conversation with them because of maybe how they speak. You'll be like, you're rude. I cannot tolerate that because you're rude. By the mere fact you're rude, I can't have a conversation with you. Because what I stand for is maybe, let's say, I stand for something like, I don't want to, someone just having courtesy. Maybe it's something you stand for. So the moment you'll meet a rude person, you'll be like, no.
No, I can't take that.
For them, again also, the ripple effect, because you don't have a point of convergence. When they meet someone else who they are like them,
They are cool.
they are cool.
But have you ever gone to in a place of work, people, like, they use all the F words and people talk to each other. They call each other even funny names. Have you ever seen the way, sometimes I think I saw something on, is it not a meme, a video on TikTok? So, a guy calling another guy. I don't even use those words here. And they're okay. Unaitwa hivi, naona like, yep. And
So
ati
it's
ng'ombe hii. No, those kind of things.
And maybe someone go ng'ombe punda, like it's their lingo, and it cuts across now when it comes to even what we believe in ideally and what we stand for.
And as you listen to us and watching us, a few questions for reflection just for you. What principles define you professionally? Do you have principles that define your professional work? Have you ever compromised your values simply to belong? I mean, that's what we're going to talk about it in the next, as we move this conversation. Have you ever compromised because, you need to belong or to be accepted? Can your colleagues predict your decision because they know your character? I mean, can they? That is for you. If I was in church, I'll say, don't raise your hand. Or those people are talking about are not here. They are outside. Please don't do that. But whereas, Neb, it is important to have principles, it is also important, or rather, friendships or relationships also matter too. So how then do we find balance between being principled, but also having relationships?
I think also we need to understand where we have personal principles and organizational politics. And we have personal principles and corporate principles, or what guides the said setting that you're in. So it's critical for us to know ourselves. I think in reference to that, if someone wants to know, like they can go and check about, we talked about self-awareness, they can watch the other episode. So it's important to understand the environment that you're in. So I might have very good principles as Emmanuel, but I'm working with people who don't have same kind of principles. But because of the organizational structure and organizational politics, I have to relate with this person. So it's important for me, who is principled, to know how to live with someone else, probably, who doesn't have same principles as I have, based on where we are at.
Actually, I think it's in. I've studied leadership, and one of the things that they say, sometimes people will not remember you on how competent you are.
Yeah.
People will remember you of how you made them feel. And I realize sometimes, and I've been a culprit of that. What does the policy say? Please do as per the policy. But I've come sometimes to realize, sometimes when you so firm into principle, you end up losing out on relationships with people. Yet you realize that there's a way you could actually communicate that, the policy or the principle that you uphold in a manner people will accept you and be okay. No, like the question I asked our audience. I mean, some people know he says he nebs yezani because I know. How do you communicate that in a manner that people will accept what you give them and not start pushing you to compromise on your principle?
I think there's an article I was reading, and I picked something, and I'll read it verbatim. Talks about principles and organizations. So it goes ahead and says, ideally, sometimes they conflict. Like your personal principles and organizational politics. At times they conflict. But when they do, navigating the situation requires a strategic yet ethical approach. So you need to be strategic, but also ethical. So if these are my principles, I need to stand my ground. Like, if people know, you cannot get a signature out of Reverend Steve if that thing has not followed the due process. That's a principle, regardless of who wants what. You know? Because at the end of the day, I know for a fact, I know if I go to Rev Steve and maybe I'm just like, Rev, ebu niwekee signature hapa. But you just say, okay, sawa, you sign. You might cost critical aspects of it. You might cost someone else a job. You might cost the company maybe a profit. You might the reputation of the company because of a simple signature that you just like this too.
Yeah, actually signature.
You know?
Gitu moto.
So, but when I know for a fact as Rev Steve, this is my stand, and people will know, you can't get a signature out of Steve unless it has followed the. So you see your principles, you've upheld your principles, but also when it comes to the organization, you've protected the organization at the same time.
Yes.
You know?
But what if some organization would want you to play in a particular manner because they know for sure what they're doing is not the right thing, but you are thinking, but for the sake of organization.
That's why I've
Wisdom.
said from that from that article I was reading, strategic. Be strategic. Because at the end of the day, at what cost will you compromise your principles for the sake of now the political aspect of it?
But it's interesting because and good you've laid that word of political, because what you are talking about is principled, but principled, not political.
Yeah.
And many times actually people now they become more political. They go the other extreme. They become more political, and in this sense, in this conversation, when I use the word political, it's basically meaning like they play the bad. They play bad. They play bad, whereby they want to be seen to stand. I've never been in a place where people are known. This person talks about this, but what they do completely is different.
Yeah.
So, and or they apply principle on you, but when you go to someone else, they apply a different principle. I mean, they keep changing or shifting goals when it comes to handling their principles.
Yeah.
Because probably best who tunes the piper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Rev, that two things. So principles, this is your professional compass. Then politics, this is the unspoken reality in the workspace. So yes, as a professional, I need to work a certain way. You see, the moment you sent in your CV, you did all these things, you didn't know anyone in that company, right? Or maybe you did, but... So when you get to that space, when you get into that company, you start navigating relationships, you start navigating organizational structures. Then also, at the end of the day, as a professional, there's what you want. You have a goal. Maybe you're like, in the next 5 years, I'll be... You know, the people who go to companies and they're just like, I'll work through...
You have an ambition.
Yes.
Where you want to get and who you want to become. You have an ambition. If you go somewhere without an ambition, surely, what are you up to?
Yeah. So when it comes to now office politics, they entail an aspect of navigating. They also entail an aspect of influence. And also, most of the spaces where we work, we have limited resources. So if it's a bonus, not everyone gets a bonus. That's why it's a bonus.
Or it gets different levels.
You know?
People get differently.
So sometimes we tend to now have people mistreat us based on our principles because they are playing their politics. But it doesn't mean you should do the same because Rev Steve is playing bad politics. I should not now compromise my principles to play bad politics on him as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's unfortunately that's what sometimes happens. But we are here to say we are building healthy relationships. That's the bottom line. We recognize that some of those things literally happen. but we are saying we can be different as professionals, and more so as a Christian professional. You ought to be different in matters handling this thing. Someone said actually there are 3 things for a healthy professional to have a balance in terms of that. What we're discussing about. He said relationships should never replace principles, but says number 2, principles should never destroy relationships unnecessarily. So somehow principles can destroy, but shouldn't unnecessarily. But I like what he said, the third thing, what you're alluding to. Wisdom helps you know when to speak. So what I'm seeing is that we need wisdom in really when principles are colliding with the workspace or colliding with relationships. We need wisdom to maintain those kind of relationships. So I'm there and I'm thinking, what are some of the probably the practical way that you think of that can help somebody, or rather, if you've ever been in that space where you feel your principles is colliding with the relationship that you have with the people of this. How then do you navigate that?
I think boundaries, very critical. Establish boundaries and set firm boundaries. Then maybe the other thing that comes to mind is pick your battles wisely. Pick your battles wisely. Like you don't have to fight everyone, and you don't have to fight for everything because I am an integral person. This company, you guys are corrupt. My brother, you will be jobless tomorrow. So pick your battles wisely. Then the other thing is, in the workspace, we talk of networking, not ideally friendships. So be intentional with how you network with the people at work. If it bears fruit and it becomes a friendship, well and good. But remember, you are there as a professional. Lastly, I think is just an aspect of being transparent. Let people know what you stand for.
Yeah, actually, I was going to say there are negotiables.
Yeah,
you must have the negotiables. When something just popped up in my mind when I think about this conversation, something has opened my mind about principle, but not political. I just the reality is this: political is always there. What is widely accepted, like it's about what people want to hear. Many times, but when your principles, being principled, because this is the other side of it, sticking with your principles, sometimes they save you from so much mess in life, save from so much things in life. And I'm thinking about Jesus. As a student of leadership, he practiced what we call principle leadership, whereby, look at Jesus, out of 12 disciples, he had 2 pairs in his camp who are brothers. In our day and time, we'll call that nepotism. But he practiced what is principled, whereby did they qualify for it? So they will be. Merit. They qualified for it to be in this, or they were chosen to be it, so they shall be in it. It is not about politics. Because if it was politics, imagine if Jesus lived in our day and age. Jesus will be saying, Jesus has a regional balance. Or will be saying, our community is not represented.
Watu wangesema, unajua kwa disciples hakuna mtu wa Murima. Jesus asikizi ground.
Jesus asikizi ground. And then think about God himself. The 12th tribe of Israel. He decides the Levites will be the only one who will be serving in the temple. If it's a day and age, you'll say, representation in that church.
Yeah, tuko represented.
Lazima bishop akue atoke Judah. Ama lazima, but he said only the Levites will be the one who will serve him in there. And I think God also is a God of principle. He works on, and when I say this is being principled is not having favoritism. Being principled is creating that which should work. And so in a workspace, and relating this now to our workspace, I think the whole idea of being principled is not being political, because political is about being famous. And I've come to realize most people who are political, they have always end up lost. They have lost it. They have been forgotten for what they stood for. And I like when we began this podcast, you were saying, why are we doing what we're doing? There's something we want to be known for. It's like your legacy. So the moment you let it loose, you lose the legacy. Remember Jesus, because he stood on a principle.
Yeah.
And that's it. So at your workspace, maybe it's very important for someone to stand for something in the workspace. What was Semange, when Neb was here, we remember him because he's the one who instituted. Why do you remember Michuki?
Matatu.
It's streamlined.
Then security as
Security dealt with those kind of things. Can you be remembered for a principle? And by there, I was told Michuki actually had principles.
Yeah, he did.
Can you be remembered for a principle to stand for? I don't know what you'll give as a parting shot as we bring this home.
I think it's, again, very reflective. You know, when you're told to give a parting shot, for me, I usually think inside out and maybe thinking of someone who's seated there. And probably they compromised in one or another. They compromised their principles. Or maybe you're there and you've never actually thought of coming up with principles, or you don't even know what you stand for. So you can just have values. You can get 3 to 5 max values that you think resonate with you as an individual. How do you get to do that? Just go online, search values. Then you'll have a long list of some, but the things that will stand out. You'll be like, oh, this one resonates with me. Then now get like-minded people in the workspace, but also don't jeopardize your work because of your values. Know that there are fights you can pick, there are fights you can't pick based on your principles. So if you're in an environment where you're working, my parting shot to you is just do your work.
Amazing. People may be impressed with your talents and the many things that you do, but they'll only put trust in your character. Your principles is what actually enables you to make the kind of decisions that you make in this life. Because without that, anything will go. So you ought to have some kind of principles, some kind of values that actually enables you and helps you to navigate friendships, to navigate relationships. Some you need to cut them off simply because your values do not align with their values. Some you'll keep because they enhance and enables your value system. What kind of values do you have? Not, I hope, it's not political values, but you have principles by which you stand for. Thank you very much for being part of this conversation right here at Relationship Garage on CITAM Church Online. I pray and believe this has been an impactful conversation that you have enjoyed it. Please make sure you subscribe to CITAM Church Online, and also please make sure you share this with someone who needs to be encouraged, someone to be inspired as they seek to become professionals in their spaces of influence. God bless you. God keep you. See you next time. Thank you for being with us the entire season of Mambo ya Kazi, office game, office politics, office work, everything about office. And we thank God for you. God bless you.